Good evening and good evening and good evening. Wow, we are welcoming back to season 5 of the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul podcast.
Woo!
Yeah, it seems
Season
like we've been
5.
going forever. But we are back coming up with new things. So you have to keep watch what's going to be going on because I'm telling you, it's very exciting. Things are happening and a lot of places we will go, older places we will go this year. So again, I thank you, but I said I want to welcome my guest who is here, RayeQueen.
Yay.
Dr. Karen Haymore is here. What a better way to start off September. I think this is the way to go, and this is just how we're going to do things. We got to get the education out there, and I'm all about empowering. So, Dr. Karen, thank you and welcome back.
Oh, it feels good to be back. It feels like it's been so long, but it feels good to be back.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it for you saying yes again, for coming back as our monthly person, because you know what? We have a lot of details to happen because there's a lot of stuff that's going to be changing in our world. There's a lot going on with this election stuff. And I think that we need to get ourselves prepared. I think it's a better time for HPOC right now. I think it's going to be some real deal going on.
Yeah, the world needs knowledgeable people about holistic health because there's a lot of things that are that are being threatened right now when it comes to healthcare. So
yeah,
better learn how to take care of yourself and find somebody who can tell you how to do it.
Exactly. And we are here, and I bought the person who's the founder of HPOC. Yay! Who is here tonight. And one of the things that we want to clarify and give, I'm going to ask Dr. Karen to give that definition, because you really haven't heard much of the definition, which is BIPOC, BIPOC. Can you share with the audience what does that mean? Because I explain it, but everybody's not on that level to know that. And not that we're saying intelligent, because it's really fairly common. Commonality of this word terminology is really coming up new, and a lot of people don't understand what it means. So can you give some type of what the acronym means and what it stands by, what's going to go along with that term?
Okay, so it's a term that's been around for a while. It was very highly academic. It was circling in academic circles, and it was really born out of what I call the new civil rights movement, where they put all these different groups under one umbrella, right? So BIPOC is an acronym, and it stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color, right? So it's grouping all of us, all of the people who are not white, under that one umbrella. And so when we talk about the BIPOC community, they're always talking about the unique needs of that community, be it sociologically, be it medically, be it physically. They've grouped us into one category. Yeah, Black, Indigenous, People of Color.
Thank you. So when that question comes up, you're going to know, audience, what that means, what it stands for, because again, I just said earlier, a lot of things going to be happening. If certain realms of what's happening with the election goes, there is going to be a lot to say what's going to happen.
And let me just also throw in there that there's a lot of Black people who have a problem with that term because they don't like us to be grouped. And, I can see both sides of the argument. However, if you peel back the layers, you understand that Black people are indigenous people to every continent in the world. We were everywhere. We're not just indigenous to America or Africa. When Pangea split, we were everywhere. So we are the indigenous group to every land in the world. So when you look at it from that perspective, it is very inclusive of all Black people. It's nothing that's going to separate us or divide us or take away from our experience, our struggle, because when you really know your history, you'll accept that terminology.
So you get ready to seg me, right? You ready to start already. So let's go there. Let's go there. And I thank you for saying that. Even with non-traditional alternative medicine, Know your history. I will just say that. I'll segue because we really want to talk about a couple of things. Anyway, history, because not everything is what you think is bad is bad. It's just how it has been interpreted, and that's where we talk about with the BIPOC community. When we talk about different customs, different things, it has been watered away due to because it did bring forth healing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we just say that. Know your history. I've been on a spiel about this last season. I'm gonna continue to be on this season, and I'm actually gonna be doing more speaking, and we'll talk about that later on knowing your history. Because it's very important because in this community, the BIPOC community, health and wellness is important. And we need cultural relevance. That's where we're going to go. Cultural relevance. What is relevant to the culture? Because we know that certain medications may not fit us. And I will say it is important that we also do get the studies done by your alternative thing. Because there's things that HPOC has that can actually help you. You know, hydrology we have here. You can look at your eyes and see how well you are. You look at your fingernails, look at your pH levels. These are things that will need to be looked upon in the case of what happens and goes on. Advocacy resources. Well, again, HPOC is here. I'm here. Dr. Karen's here. There's teams of leaders all around the U.S., in your state, here in Maryland, right here in straight up town of Fellows,burg, Maryland. It's something here. All right here in the state of Maryland, all over. International community engagement. What we talking about here, community engagement. We want to bring this to the communities because, again, our community suffers because they don't have the knowledge.
That's it.
And just because it has always been done this way doesn't mean that there can't be a change to benefit you by just trying some of the things that happen. And what we're looking forward to. I get tired of hearing it. I know you do, Dr. Karen. You get tired of hearing it. I get tired of hearing that a certain particular group that is of color they work together. We need to bring forward, looking forward for us working together. And when we, as the community, when I say us, I'm talking about the Black people. When I say the Black people, not all, but some, they bash against things that are alternative because it's not what you're usually used to. I would just say have a little openness to learn something because you never know through what you might hear. See, it can help you benefit for you to heal. Not just you, but it's a lot of trauma within our community. And if we do some of these things that are essential to us, it can actually, like we said, why are we dying from diabetes? Why are we dying from high blood pressure?
And they're lifestyle diseases. If these are lifestyle diseases, we can simply change our lifestyles, right? Simply counteract it to avoid the chronic diseases that are destroying our communities,
Right. And again, we're not saying that we're anti-medicine either. Now, if you're sick, like Dr. Karen says, sick, you take your medicine. But what we want to share is there's a whole fall fetch of everything of generation to generation to generation. And if you think about back when generation, you got to go back again, get your knowledge, get your history. I'm just saying. So we're moving forward into the month of September, but there are different types of, just like there's an awareness months for different types of other things. Do you not know, audience, that the BIPOC community has a awareness month? And September, Dr. Karen, do you want to tell the audience what tonight or this month's awareness is?
Yeah, so September, the month of September is when we look to our babies. It's called Holistically Healthy Kids Month. And so we focus our efforts, our time, our energy on making sure the babies are okay, because that's really where it starts. And unfortunately, there's a couple of generations where we didn't transmit our knowledge to the young people like we should have. And so people like myself, people like yourself, had to go back and do research on our own and tap back into a lot of these things on our own because it just wasn't, transferred from generation to generation. And so we focus on the kids this month, making sure that they're holistically healthy because our babies are getting diagnosed with cancer at higher rates than ever before. They're developing all these food allergies. And that's because we're giving them food, pseudo foods. They're not real foods, right? And so now their immune systems and their digestive systems can't handle it. And so that's manifesting into disease. It's ridiculous how our communities are being affected. So we really need to focus on taking care of our young people so that we can continue to grow in our communities. Our communities have a lineage, you know what I mean? So that it doesn't stop with them because we're dying off younger. We're not having kids like we used to. We have to do something to preserve our culture. And that is going to happen through our babies. And so we take care of them this month.
You got it. You got it. So, like you said, so what does the Healthy Kids Month mean to you and to the organization of HPOC? So, I like you just said, it's, teaching our babies. And I like the way we just said it because a couple weeks ago, last week, I had my 2 grandkids and we went by a thing of Frederick Douglass. And my grandchildren, both of them was like, who is that? My older one, she was new, like who it was. But then the 7-year-old, he didn't really know. It was an open conversation for that. And it was so funny because he said, oh, was you born back then, my mom? I was like, no. But it broke out the conversation about who and ancestrally who it was. So, yeah, it is very important, Dr. Karen. Do you want to expand how the organization is working towards that?
Well, yeah. So we have, for those of you who don't know, we are a nationwide organization. And so we have 29 chapters across the country. And so when we have these designated holistic health months, each chapter has a little bit of autonomy. So they can do kind of what they want to do in their own local communities to tap into that initiative. So they might offer things like workshops. They might organize activities that require physical activity so the kids can get off those computers and get outside and play, get some sunshine, all the things that help with healing our kids. And so all across the country, there are different things going on that focus on our babies. And so you can go to the website at holisticprofessionalsofcolor.org and find a chapter near you and find out what they're going to be doing every month.
And we're going to talk about some things that's going to be coming up a little later into the show. So, the first question that I have for you is, what holistic health practices promote mental and physical health among kids? Because we know, look, I was somewhere yesterday and I was not eardropping, but you couldn't help it because the teachers, these were teachers that were kindergarten teachers, and they said the kids are off the hook. And this, I know here in our county, this is just the second weekend. And what they were describing to me, they were like, one little boy was just throwing stuff across the room. And, this is what we're running into factors of mental health starting younger. So, and again, I'm just saying, I'm not the one to really do a research paper on this, but I do believe it has something to do with what you were talking about. The changes in the mindset is because of the food. I really do believe that. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe I might be wrong, but I doubt it. But so do you agree with that? So what?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we talk about what type of practices our young people can use. They're the same practices we should be using as adults. Now, some of them require that you scale back so that it's suitable for pediatric care, but it's the same things. And I'll start with, there's a couple of them I'll touch on that I think are really good for young people. And I'll start with the food. To your point, food. I used to always say, what did I used to say? Your primary source of healthcare should be the food you eat. Right? Your primary source of healthcare should be the food you eat. And we know this. On some level, we all know this, how foods affect our body. But for some reason, we can't let go of the fried foods, the processed foods. We just can't let go of it. And we need to, because a lot of those processed foods, let's start with that. have, first of all, they're not real food because it's been processed. Something happened to it to alter it from its original form, right? And then they add these things to it that are made in a laboratory. They have food dyes and food colorings. Those colorings are horrible for children. They cause ADHD. They contribute to cancer. They contribute to asthma. They contribute to brain fog. There's so much that happens with those food dyes and processed foods. And then, of course, you have the meat, high meat consumption. Now, I'm not saying you got to go vegan, but I am saying that the largest portion of your diet should not be meat, right? It should not be meat. And if you are going to eat meat once or twice a week, it should be organic, right? It should be just a higher quality cut of meat, right? And another misconception that happens a lot is that in our community is people will say, oh, I eat healthy. I gave up pork and I gave up beef. I just eat chicken and turkey. Okay. I don't know why people don't remember that chicken is a scavenger just like pork is, right? They're scavengers. They'll eat everything just like the pig does. So to keep chicken on your diet and instead of beef, I think is a problem. If you're going to give up one or the other, give up chicken and keep eating beef. For one thing, chicken is highly manufactured. It's the number one eaten food in the world. And for that reason, they have these chicken farms where they're pumping them up with steroids and antibiotics. They have these horrible conditions. They're killing them cruelly, right, inhumanely. And so when that happens, they release these stress hormones and you ingest those same stress hormones. So it's just a vicious cycle, right? So if you're going to give up something, my people, give up the pork, the chicken, keep the beef, and slowly give the beef up too, right? So that's just one of them. We all know about nutritional awareness. We just have to make the choices to do it.
All right.
Oh, the other thing I want to say on that soapbox is that people say it costs too much to eat healthy. No, it doesn't. It absolutely does not. It's actually cheaper to eat healthy. Now it costs more to eat quickly. Like we live in a society where we want food fast. We want to pop it in the microwave. You want meals already ready for you, prepared for you. So you just have to go home and pop it in the oven or whatever. You're never going to get healthy with easy meals. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have to take the time to do some meal prepping. And when you do that, you save money. I'm telling you, it's cheaper to eat healthy than it is to not eat healthy, but you have to invest the time. You have to know that you're worth it. You have to know that your family is worth it. You have to love yourself enough to know to just say, listen, every Sunday, every Saturday, every Tuesday, whatever your day is, I'm going to make 2 or 3 meals, healthy meals, and just have them in the refrigerator ready to go, right? That's what you have to do. And then the other things, of course, are, getting outside, getting fresh air, playing outside. We have a whole generation, 2 generations now of kids who don't go outside to play. Mm-hmm. They're not connecting with the earth. They're not getting any sunshine, right? They're not getting any cardiovascular activity going on. They're sitting in front of a computer. They're sitting on their phones. They're on TikTok, whatever they're on, all day long. That's a problem in and of itself because those electromagnetic frequencies are dangerous, especially when you're not developed yet. These are children. Their brains are not fully developed yet. Their organs are not fully developed yet. Why would you put some electromagnetic frequencies around them constantly when we know this is a reality? Take it away from your kids. I don't care what they say. Snatch it out their hands and make them go outside and sit on the porch like we used to do when I was a kid. My mom would lock us out the house when we were kids. Wait for her to let us back in. You gonna go outside and play. That's it. And we need to get back to some of that, right?
You are so true. So what I want to do, we're going to take a quick break because the next question that I'm going to have is going to be talking about cultural practices and traditions. So audience, I want you to grab a rasp of this that's going to be shown in a few minutes, but we're going to come back and hear about what we can do in the BIPOC community for our cultural traditions. So we'll be right back, but I want you to take a look at this. welcome back to the other episode of the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. This is our season 5. This is our first night back for the season. And what I just shown you, we have been talking about what the BIPOC means. We've been talking about what the awareness a month is, holistic, healthy children. And now we're going to be talking about, hey, it's nothing wrong, with understanding what is your cultural relevance, traditions, and how these practices can impact you as a person, a part of this community and group. So, Dr. Karen, would you like to tell a couple of things? Especially, we have a wealth of knowledge here at HPOC. I'm putting in the plug because there's a reason why we're doing this. We're putting in a plug about this. It's very important. That we, like we said in the earlier, some things that we have been taught are not that good for us, typically are. Typically are. So, Dr. Karen, would you go ahead and expand on that, please?
Well, one of the biggest problems in our community, and it lends itself to health disparities, is that we have been so disconnected from our culture, right? Cultural relevance is very important to your physical health, to your mental health, to your emotional health, right? Because it provides a sense of identity. It provides a sense of community. And as we know, those are all things that are part of the basic needs in life. If you don't have those things met, you can't build upon it. It's going to crumble, right? You have to have a sense of identity. You need a community. You need your tribe so that you can flourish and grow, right? And so, unfortunately, those of us in North America, we came over, through the transatlantic slave trade, and a lot of our practices were stripped away from us, right? So I said this before, we have to show our people some grace because, we're not like everybody else. We didn't get here the same way a lot of other people did, right? In some cases, there were some Black folks here, but not all of us came here that way. And so because of that experience with the transatlantic slave trade, we didn't get to hold on to a lot of our rituals, right? And our customs the way a lot of other ethnic cultures do. You can see the Asians practicing their cultural rituals. You can see Native Americans doing it. You can see Hispanics and Latin community doing it, right? We don't do it because we don't know what they were a lot of times, right? They were stripped from us. It was made illegal for us to practice them. And so now we have the freedom to do that, right? Now we have the freedom to tap back into those rituals and those practices. The problem is, as you know, Dr. Hammond, is that because of that whole process, a lot of our own people think that those practices are evil, they're witchcraft, they're unchristian-like, they're not religious, they're not spiritual, all the things, right? All the things. And so we have to first get rid of that mindset, right? So that we can pass on our rituals and our traditions to our kids so they can grow up with a strong sense of identity and purpose and community. That way their nervous systems are not adversely affected with the trauma that we endured because of those situations, right? Exactly. It's a whole thing, right? And then if we can't fully connect to some of the African rituals, right? You can definitely connect to some of the African American rituals and customs, or we can lean on the wisdom of what happened. One of the things I used to teach my students, I was a public school teacher for 20 years, is that the Black folks here in America, most of them, because there were some Black folks already here, just to be clear, we did not come over on the transatlantic slave trade. But for those of us who did, we are survivors, right? Because a lot of people didn't make it. So we are the descendants of some badasses, the ones who survived all those inhumane, horrible, treacherous, traumatic conditions. We are the descendants of the people who survived that. So we got badass DNA already in our body, already, because that happened, right? We're here. I'm here. You're here. So we had to have some ancestors who are pretty awesome for us to be here, right? And so we can't allow some fried chicken to take us out. We just can't do it. We can't do it. After all that, your great-grandmother would roll over in her grave. After all she survived for you to be here, you gonna let a piece of fried chicken take you out? Nah, we're not gonna do that.
That is so funny. That is so funny. Because what's so funny when people say, you hear this saying when you go somewhere, especially if you do a win something, they're like, winner, chicken dinner. So don't let the chicken get you.
Don't do it. Your great grandmother would be so
you know what, you bringing up a good factor, because you know what, you talk about survival. What did Popeyes do a couple years ago with the chicken sandwich? People were killing each other over these sandwiches. They got us with the chicken. And again, it's the mindset thinking.
I was so disappointed when that was going on. I just sat at home and just shed a tear. Like, look at my people. I couldn't believe it. And then KFC had a chicken sandwich without a bun. Did you see that? It was 2 pieces of chicken. The chicken was the bun. What is happening? What, girl?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And you're right. But here's the thing. If we offer them a juicing class, I'm gonna go there. If we offer them a free meditative class that you just have to tune in, something to get your mindset right, we won't take it.
Right. It's a mindset. We have to do some mindset work. So HPOC that's on HPOC's radar. Yeah. I know, Dr. Hammond, you're gonna help me out with that. That's on our radar. We have to do some mindset work. I was doing some studies when I was working on my PhD around because I was frustrated with the fact that we know what we're not supposed to eat, or we're not supposed to eat too much of, right? We know that. When I became a vegan, I would go to family gatherings and they would tease me. They call me white girl. You know, I'm not black. They taking my black card because I don't want to eat all the things, you know what I mean? And some people can't handle that ridicule. I can handle it. I talk stuff for a living. Yeah. So I was okay with it. But there's a mindset there that we have to overcome, that you're not black if you're not doing certain things, right? You're not black if you're choosing to live a healthy lifestyle. Like, you want to take away my whole identity because I'm making healthy choices for myself, right? And so that's a problem. And our kids see that, and we have to stop planting those thoughts into their heads, because they grow up thinking the same thing, and the cycle just continues. Now they have the same diseases that your parents had, that their parents had, that their parents had. We're handing down, instead of generational wealth, generational disease. We're giving them our diabetes. We're giving them our high blood pressure. We're giving them our gout. We're giving them all the things that we should not be giving them. Exactly. Right? So we have to overcome that mindset for our babies.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's all about the wellness. You know, if it doesn't start, you know, because, you know, people, I hate to hear it, but a lot of people say we have people there, again, kids are dying younger. You know, you have mental stuff that's going on because you just have this young little boy, 14 years old, going to the school a couple weeks, you know, this past week, and do what he did. And you're seeing it all over the country. Mm-hmm. So there is a mindset change that has to take place. And again, I tell people all the time, and I'm being honest and I'm being transparent. See, because I can't point at you, because if I do, I got these coming back at me. Mm-hmm. I often look at my older son. I mean, if you know better, you'll do better. But you wasn't. I still say it till this day. And people might be mad, and you can tell me what it is. But I just say, because I look at it from the mental health side, since I'm aware of it now. I'm more aware of it. I've studied in it. I look at the video game. Back in the day, it was the Miami something. I think it was Miami something game. It was a video game. This was back when he was younger. And now when I look at it now, kids now with guns, it doesn't faze them. I be like, it's because of the factors. You know, you got all this digital stuff. You got Roblox. First thing they do, I can use this to kill somebody with, you know, that. And then this is what's going on. Yeah. They have linked from the reality.
Yeah. They blended it. They can't separate.
This is the part of wellness. So I would say restrict the time. You need to be monitoring what they're watching.
And don't expose it to them until they're ready, right? Because there's some studies that show that because they start so young, it becomes one. Their virtual reality becomes their reality. So they don't really realize the difference. I'm from Denver, and a couple of years ago, there was some teenagers who did a high-speed chase with the police. They're driving through a parking garage and doing all kinds of crazy things, right? They finally got caught. One of them died. But the other one was like, oh, we're just doing what we saw in some video game, right? Mm-hmm. That was his real answer. And he meant that wholeheartedly. I'm watching him. I'm just like, this is crazy. Their realities are blended. So we have to be very mindful of what we let these kids do so young. They can't be 2 and 3 years old playing these shoot 'em up bang bang games.
Right.
Because they can't differentiate. You know what I'm saying? Just yet.
So yeah, that's that's one of the things that I look at, and that segues right into the next question. How is you a parent? From this community, how are you as a parent can advocate for inclusion of these different things? About your healthcare, especially. Are you going to the school to see? And we know that the school systems is a big wage thing. Or are you packing healthy lunches? Are you doing those type of things? That's be some things for the wellness. Are you limiting healthy? Are you limiting the bad snacks versus the healthy snacks? Are you making healthy snack choices? I see it all the time. The first thing we'll grab those Fritos, Takis, hot Takis, and that's the S for all of that. And again, when you talk about the cancers and stuff, I'm seriously thinking that's a lot has to do with link.
And the learning disabilities, all of that. It affects their learning. It does. You have to be your own advocate.
Yeah.
At the schools and at the doctor's office. Because one thing that I find our parents don't do is you don't understand that you're in charge of your body. Your doctor is not in control of your body. You are. Your doctor really doesn't know what's going on with your body. Only you know. Now, you can go to them for some guidance, tell them what's going on and all that, but they're not the final answer. Too many times people say, my doctor said this, and so I'm going to do it. My doctor said this. You don't question it. You don't do your own research. You don't call somebody who might have the answer. I get so many calls from friends and family. Well, what does this mean? Tell me about this. Do that. Use your resources. You know what I mean? You have to advocate for yourself and for your kids. And at the schools, oh my Lord, I used to get so many of my babies out of test them out of special ed because they put a lot of our babies in special ed unnecessarily, right? It's usually some teacher who's not culturally relevant, right? She doesn't have the qualifications to deal with our little black babies who can't handle or understand their behaviors, their cultural patterns, and all that. So they put them on special ed. They put them in special ed and put them on medications, right? So you get to my class, I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with that boy. Test him out of special ed. He's not on special. Take him off the drugs, take off the labels, all of that, because they use that as a crutch the rest of their lives too. Take them off all of that. Parents would fight me on that because unfortunately, in some states, if your child's on special ed, they get money. It's considered a disability, so they get a paycheck from the state. Parents want that money. You have to stop pimping your kids out. I don't care how much money it is. Go get another job. Do what you got to do, but that's going to scar your baby for life. We now have some long-term studies about those ADHD medications. It causes impotence. These boys can't have babies anymore because they were on those drugs for so long. It causes psychosis. There's enough data now we have to know that it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. So if your teacher is telling you something you don't agree with, take them out. Take them to a different school, homeschool them, do what you have to do for your child. It might be inconvenient. It will be inconvenient to you, but you have to be willing to inconvenience yourself for the health of your child, for the wellness of your child, for the success of your child. You have to be willing to do it.
You know? Exactly. Yeah. And you're talking so true. You're talking some true facts there. I look again, if you knew better, you do better. But then I can look at the effects of when Ritalin first came out 30 some years ago. That's what they were pushing. I mean, in my case, I had no choice because I was either going to get fired, be jobless, because I even went to sit in the classroom. It was a lot. But if you knew better, I can look at the long effects of what has been what has happened through, what has happened. And I feel like that sometimes, but it was a situation, as you said, socioeconomics situations that I had to do. It was either that or no food on the table or be sitting outdoors. So either, I hate to say that, but sometimes you be in those situations, but you really have to really delve deep into it. Since I'm in the medical field a lot now, I can see some of it. I used to see the drug reps when they used to come when I worked in a gynecologist's office. I used to see they give you them nice lunches and different things like that. But then later on, you see the effects of what has really happened.
Yeah. You have to
So
advocate. I want to tell you a quick story if you don't mind.
go ahead.
My son was in the 6th grade, I think, and his teacher, Dr. Judith. Dr. Judith, I hope you're listening to this podcast. She told me my baby needed to go into special ed because he's a little black boy, of course. I said, no, he doesn't. Ain't nothing wrong with that boy. Yes, he does. I'm going to refer him. All the things. We went to war. I went to war. Long story short, he did not go into special ed. But let's fast forward to high school graduation, where he graduated with a 4.4 GPA, got a full academic scholarship to college. The same little kid they're trying to say needed special ed. And these are the kinds of concessions we make for our babies, thinking that they know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. You know your kid better than anybody else. If you don't agree with the school system, change the school system. Change the school, do whatever you have to do. Go to war like I went to war. But I knew better. So I did better. And I fought for my child. And I want to see her so bad. I can't wait till I see Dr. Judith. Like, this is the boy you want to put in special ed. He's now an autism therapist. He's 28 now, and he's an autism therapist.
Wow.
How dare you?
Wow.
How dare you? Can you imagine how different his life may have been if we put him on some medication? Can you imagine?
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to advocate. Sorry.
You really do. You really have to advocate. You really have to advocate. So, we have talked about the BIPOC community. We have talked about the awareness of this month for the BIPOC community, for the whole healthy, holistic child. Mm-hmm. And the future, again, I would say, audience, this lady right here has changed my whole thinking. And I know you guys have been watching me move a lot, but I'm moving because one of the things about Dr. Raye is she has created a school, a university, for exactly advocating the health and wellness, bringing in the cultural relevancy, how we advocate. And there's more things. I can't wait till after this conference. Speaking of the conference, everyone, I want to share what'll be coming up. And Dr. Karen, you can talk a little bit more about it, but I want you to know about this conference. It's the Holistic Professionals of Color National Conference, which will be going on September the 20th through the 22nd. If you ever want to have a life-changing, I've been involved with HPOC now over a year, and I'm telling you, has it changed my life? It has changed my life to the best. And I mean, I've always been an advocacy in the health and wellness realm, but it has now broadened my perspective because one of the bases is about healing. And one of the mottos of HPOC is, if we heal ourselves, we can heal our communities. And I'm putting out the plea. I'm putting out the plea. If we heal ourselves, we can heal our communities. It's nobody else's fault. It's our fault.
Right.
Let me say that. It's nobody else's fault.
Yeah.
But it's our fault.
Yeah.
And why is it our fault? One of the factors that I said is because we don't like change, and we perish because of lack of knowledge.
Yep.
But I will say, I cannot wait until next week. And the Healing from the Soil, I'm actually one of the presenters. Dr. Karen has brought in a wealth of knowledgeable people. Dr. Karen, would you want to go over what it's just so much? I'm like sitting here looking at the itinerary you sent out, and I'm like sitting here like, I wish I had a clone or somebody AI, because some of these classes and workshops I want to be in.
I know it. And this is the first year we have dual presentations going on at the same time. So people are going to be forced to have to choose between one workshop or another if they're there in person. But if you're not there in person, you can still get the recording afterwards. So no, don't worry about that. But I'm so excited. It's our third conference. We've done this for 3 years now. This year we have 14 presenters. Awesome presenters. Like, I have some heavy hitters, some people who always are constantly sharing their wisdom, sharing their knowledge. healing themselves, healing their communities. They're doing the work for the BIPOC community. And they're so smart. They're so brilliant. I mean, you're going to walk away with so much information and a renewed spirit, because you also come and spend time with your tribe, right? Like-minded people. The energy in the room when we're together is so amazing. You feel energized. You feel ready to go to war, go back to your local cities and states and implement some of the things that you're going to learn. It's going to be awesome. And in addition to the presenters that are coming, we also have a lawyer, the staff attorney from the Health Freedom Action Council. This organization is not a Black-run organization, but they are responsible for fighting and pushing a lot of legislation through so that we can practice our modalities, right? And so he's going to come and talk to us during one of the lunches. And that's going to be awesome, because we're going to learn what we can do in your own individual cities and states to make sure you have the legal right to continue doing what you're doing, right? So it's going to be amazing. 2 full days of workshops. It culminates with the Tanzania Neville's Holistic Health Awards, which you're a nominee, right?
Yes.
So it's the only one of its kind. There are some other holistic health awards, but this is the only one that focuses strictly on people who have a keen interest in healing the BIPOC community. So this is the only one of its kind in the industry. It's the first year we're doing this, so I'm very excited about that. The awards look so awesome. Wait till you see them. They're handcrafted by a Black woodsman out of Atlanta. They're amazing. It's going to be an excellent weekend. So I
cannot wait. I'm like, I told my husband I might not come back. Because I swear I need a break. I need a break. But right. You know, it is this, and I can't wait to see people dressed up, looking nice. Yeah, I actually told my chapter last week that, you know, I'm not going to do a meeting this month. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to wait until after I leave to come there, because I think it's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. And then would you like to talk about in October, some things is going around nationally for HPOC in October?
Yes. So we're doing our first ever Black History Wellness Walk. So between October 26th and November 2nd, chapters all across the country are going to organize walking tours in their neighborhood. They might be in the community. It might be at a museum. Some people are doing it at museums. You have to just tap into your local chapter to find out. But we are going to combine the health benefits of walking with history, because go back to that identity piece and that cultural piece. If you can connect the two, the more levels you can affect, the more effective the healing is. So if we can merge the two of those, we can actuate some healing, right? So that's going to happen all across the country. Go to the website to find out what's happening in your particular city or state, but it's going to be awesome. And if you're somewhere where there's not a local chapter, you can do it by yourself. You can zoom in to one of the chapters. Call me. I'll tell you how you can get connected to one of the chapters, but it's going to be awesome. It's awesome.
Yes. And we're actually going to do ours during the week. I've actually trying to connect with the sororities and something else to do it for that day. Okay. And I also want to share with the audience, Dr. Karen, can we let them in? I think this is the first night back, so I think we're going to share them with the conference. That's not just with the conference piece. We did a conference. We did something else. But as we talk about cultural and traditions, I want to share something that Dr. Karen is a forward of that will be coming up. So, as you well guys know, there's always something important about this. So I'm going to show this. Yes, Daughters of Healing remedies and recipes will be coming forth in a month or so.
I can't wait. That's going to be awesome.
I will say that this concept came about. There is a holistic group, and just one day it was, again, I tell people all the time, I don't believe that he gives you these ideas to sit on them.
That's it. Come on now.
I guess just never been me. Because, you know, let me go church with the church folks and everybody else. faith without works is dead. So that means if he gives you something, you have to put in the work to it, right? So one of the things that I say, okay, well, this is something that we can advocate for, cultural traditions. Some people who are in the realm of non-traditional healers, we have put together this book. It's 12 women that came together from all across this country, which is awesome stories. Some have shared about trauma, how they have went through trauma and how they have healed themselves through trauma.
That's the word. That's it.
Healed themselves, and there has been certain customs that have been taken upon for them to use, prayers. And Dr. Karen, I have even added some extra stuff in the book.
Oh.
I have added gratitude. There's a part for dream journals, journaling the dreams, and there's also where you can do let it out.
Okay.
Inside there. So this is very special because it's people coming from all different areas. And again, a lot of traditions and how you hear how the generations. We had one of the authors talk about what her grandmother taught her about, elderberries, and it's gonna be you're gonna want, and I can't wait till we have our live thing. It's just what I have read within the month. That's why I say I'm just like so full. I'm like, this fall is a lot happening.
Yes.
A lot happening, and it's really, really good to see. And one of the things I like about it is I think now is the time. It's no better time than now to get forward, because so many people, and some people talk about how we've been hidden, because you're afraid to share these different types of modalities and things that you talk about, that you do. But I'm no longer afraid anymore because I know that it brings forth healing. I'm just, it is. I'll take whatever. You can say whatever, but I know who I am within the realms of this earth, and I know what I'm here to do.
What your assignment is.
It's it. I know what I'm here to do. And again, if you just take a custom, and it's so funny when you said about, let's go back to one of the things you said in the segment about we don't want to listen to hear, or why we're dying from. A lot of our own don't believe in different things. And it's so funny because a couple of weeks at work, and I hope my coworker will be watching, and I usually don't do, I haven't did it within a year. I hadn't did the Reiki within a year. And it's so funny. One of my coworkers couldn't move just at work, back went out or whatever else. And I said, you know what? There's something that I can do that, I can help you. If you have to be receptive of it. You have to be receptive of it. And, we went through the show. Within a couple minutes, she walked and was sitting straight up. She couldn't, she was bent over. And it's so funny. She said she called her daughter, told her, she said, Michelle did some voodoo stuff. So we laugh about it. We laugh about it. And that's a joke. That's a joke within that. But that's a joke within. She was like, Michelle did, and she was explaining to her daughter, and her daughter explained to her what had happened and different things like that. Yeah, all I just did was did the EFT and emotional freedom tapping. It's nothing. You just natural remedies of what God give us to use, and on those meridians, and it woke that whatever that away. And it was so funny. So that's what she was like. And it was funny the other day when I posted up about the doctorate, right? They was like, yeah, Dr. Voodoo woman. I laugh about it because I laugh about it because it's funny. But to understand, now that's someone not of the BIPOC community. But for my own community, I would get backlash of teaching EFT. I mean, I'm in a classroom teaching about herbal teas, and I'm getting about, have you ever expanded to move further and something? How did you get that out of that? I don't know. I'm giving you things for inflammation. So, we just got to do better. And that's why we're here. And Dr. Karen, I'm a soldier along the HPOC. So
I know you are, and I so appreciate you. You have no idea. You have
all
no
right.
idea.
We got to get better, family.
Yes, we
And
do.
it's all within love that we do all of this. So I just want this last thing to go out for you guys to realize this. I'm All righty. So one lucky winner tonight. So the one lucky winner tonight, as we're going to ask this question, tell us and explain what the BIPOC community is. And you will win this holistic professional color drinking tumbler, which stands for 24 hours, cold or hot.
Nice. I need that.
I got you. I'm coming. I got you. But yeah, so Dr. Karen, anything else you want to say before we leave out on this show tonight?
No, I'm just so happy to be back. I love you to life. You are amazing. You're doing God's work, girl, because it's not easy working with our people. I know.
Whew,
so you are called to do this work. I tell people all the time, none of us come here, just happily. I mean, we're happy to be here, but it's hard to be in this space working with our people.
It's hard. It's very hard. It's very hard. So, all right, community, we love you. And look, I see you see my new stuff back, but we're gonna go back up and touch up with the outro. But this outro will always stay with me, because just remember, if you don't feel that you are loved, just know that you are loved here at the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. Until next week, we will see you.